And I will tap 2. I will play Wilson, Refined Grizzly. The spell can't be countered. Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Ward 2. Choose a background. Choose a background. I mean, he's a Grizzly, but I mean, if I get to choose anything, Eldrazi are pretty cool. That would be a cool background, right? Maybe he's from Innistrad and he's kind of maybe a part vampire bear. I mean, that would be pretty sweet.
Strike.
Maybe he's from Kamigawa. Maybe he's like a bear ninja, right? Maybe he's Ugin and Nickel's long-lost third brother.
Strike-har.
What?
That's not what background means. It's a card.
Oh.
The names. Strike Guard, Light Herder.
Lady Celestria.
Together we are
Celestial Strike!
Right? Whew. Y'all, we're a little dressed down right now. We're not going into battle. We're actually here to inform today. So, just as we asked in the video at the beginning, what in the world is this background stuff, right? Lady C jamming on my vibe during our game. I'm trying to come up with a background for my commander, because, hello, it would have been really awesome, and she has to go over and ruin it all, basically.
Well, not to worry, because we are here to explain what a background is and how it can work with your commander to make your deck that much beefier.
Oh, so let's just start with the actual definition, and then we'll interpret and discuss and whatnot, and then we're going to get into some of these new commanders that have that choose a background and give you some of our favorite combinations with the background and said commander. So let's just read it off here. Background is a legendary enchantment subtype. It's introduced for the Battle of Baldur's Gate. Backgrounds interact with commanders in commander games. So they're monocolored, legendary. They're not creatures, but there's creatures that are monocolor that say choose a background, right? So what that does is that enchantment is going to sit in the command zone with your commander.
So it's basically a commander partner, only
Right.
instead of it being a creature card, it's an enchantment card.
Yes.
And you can pick whichever one of the background enchantments that you want that pairs best with the commander of your choice.
Right, and just like partner, because I believe Commander Legends is the one that introduced that as well. So the second one obviously is going to introduce another flavorful aspect to it. But
Leva.
yeah, the enchantment being in the command zone will add to your color identity. So if you have a mono green commander in a black enchantment background, you're going to be able to have both green and black in your decks. Does that make sense so far?
I'm tracking.
So, with that in mind, just seeing some of the previews, and shout out that this is where we get ours at mtgpreviews.com. It's powered by MTG Goldfish, so shout out to them. This is the source for all of this stuff, and your source probably for any and all leaks and spoilers and previews and all that stuff. So this is where we got ours, and y'all, after looking at a few of them, I got some favorite ones. Lady C has some favorite ones, and we just kind of want to take a peek at a few of them. So the first one, Lae'zel, Vlaakith's Champion. This is a legendary 3/3 Gith Warrior. So it costs 2 and a white. If you would put 1 or more counters on a creature or planeswalker you control, or on yourself, put that many +1 of each those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Choose a background. So number 1, just that card in general is pretty awesome. I mean,
yeah.
The extra counter thing is always something that I'm partial to. So,
And it's really cool looking too.
yeah, it's a really nice looking card. So a couple of them that stood out to me, Lady C. I don't know how you viewed it, but Master Chef is the first one that just boom popped in. Number 1, we get to add green to the color identity, and if we're talking about pumping things, green's already pretty stompy, already has some big things in it, And then if we can make them bigger, it's just that much better, right?
That's what she said.
For sure. So what it says is commander creatures you own have this creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. And other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them. So pair that with the commander. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty
Because
spicy.
you're getting double the 1/1 counters every time.
Mm-hmm.
And Master Chef costing only 2 and a green, so total from the command zone you need 3 for each, right? So
And I mean, throw some trample in there, and yeah, getting pretty stompy.
You're rolling.
pretty fast.
You're absolutely rolling. Another thing that I saw in there that just kind of throwing this one out there, Sword Coast Sailor for 1 and a blue. It is a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, this creature can't be blocked this turn. So when we're talking about pumping, right, we're adding counters anyway. So even without the Master Chef, we're still adding a lot of 1/1 counters and whatnot anyway to this deck. That's probably the whole point. And so we pump up our commander a whole bunch with counters and then swing in unblocked with Sword Coast Sailor. And once commander damage starts adding up, you can end the game pretty quickly that way. So.
Yeah. And, well, it's mono green
Mm-hmm. Well, mono white for the commander.
for the commander, and then green, so it would be green white. So then you could throw in some lifelink. You would need lifelink to get that
For the Master
mechanic.
Chef.
Yeah.
Yep. And then for the Sword Coast, you get to add green to the white. So you'll be playing a white-blue deck and maybe add some protection for your things, counter spells,
Yeah.
or, return to hand stuff and whatnot so that you can really keep swinging in even further. So even if it can't be blocked, you can return to hand or
Yes.
control the board a little bit more so you're swinging in unblocked either way. So just a little extra one that I threw out there, but here's a personal favorite of mine. Next commander we're going to talk about, Wilson, Refined Grizzly.
I just love Wilson. He's so cute.
Look at this art. That's amazing.
So cute. Just sitting there with his little pinky out.
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
He's very refined. He is a 1 and a green for a legendary creature, Bear Warrior. Spell cannot be countered. That's huge. Vigilance, Reach, Trample, and has Ward 2, meaning you can't do anything to him unless you pay an extra 2, right? Choose a background, and it's a 2/2 already. Y'all, just in itself, this is an amazing commander. It's cheap. It's flavorful. I mean, there's just nothing to not like about Wilson. I mean, look at him. You know what I mean? Now,
So the background mechanic, in my personal opinion, that goes the best with this, everyone who watches our stream knows Lady C loves her mono green.
oh yeah,
So Raised by Giants, it's cost 5 and a green. Commander creatures you own have base power and toughness 10/10 and are giants in addition to their other types.
Ridiculous.
So you've got your 2-drop commander that you get out there. And I mean, who knows? Throw in some counters, throw
Yeah.
in some other stuff to beef them up while you're building up
yep,
to that 6-drop.
yep.
And then all of a sudden he's base power 10. You've got a huge creature. You
Yeah.
got trample, vigilance.
I mean,
I mean,
how do you beat that? You know what I mean?
the only way to beat that is with a ton of removal.
Yeah, you got to control it or else you're done. And like we were talking about earlier with commander damage, if you have a 10/10 vigilance, reach, trample on the board with ward 2, so you got to pay extra even to get it out, and with it already being a 2-drop, you can resolve Raised by Giants. You pretty much just end everybody's game right then and there. So
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Another one that I was looking at, I do like Raised by Giants a whole bunch, and that probably would be my first pick. Just full mono green stompy, and let's get it right. I also like this one, Shadow Thief Operative. It costs 1 and a green, and
It's 1 and a black.
1 and a black. Talk about green. See, I just love green so much. It's 1 and a black for a background here. The commander creatures we own are going to have whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, Put a 1/1 counter on this creature. It gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn. So now,
So that's pretty good too. It's another way, and that one's good because it's cheap,
Yes.
and you can start buffing your commander from jump.
You're going quick.
And then he gets that Death Touch, but you have
Yep.
to have enough life.
Yes,
That's the
thing.
trick.
Make sure you're keeping your life total there, but the vigilance part is a big deal because it's gonna attack, but it's not gonna tap, so it can stay back and block, keep your life total up to where you're making sure that synergy continues to go. So that's a big deal, and I really like the Shadow Thief Operative.
Yeah, that's good.
Plus, you get to throw in some black into your deck, so you can get
Make it a
some
little tasty.
big flyers and
Yeah.
board removal and stuff like that. Maybe some reanimation, who knows? So I like that flexibility with Wilson, and that's a big deal. Also, just threw this out there, that Sword Coast Sailor, like we talked about earlier, making sure it can't be blocked. So if we can pump them anyway, and that 2/2, just even if you kept it at a 2/2 and it never got bigger, that commander damage, getting it through for 2
Yeah.
every time, you're going to end the game for someone pretty quickly. Because
quickly.
commander damage is, you don't need as much as the life total, right? So that's a pretty big deal in itself. I also had one more picked out that I'm kind of throwing it out there and just seeing if it's a thing. Guild Artisan. It costs 1 and a red, so we're gonna get to add red to the green. Whenever our commander creatures attack, whenever it attacks a player, if no other opponent has more life than that player, create 2 treasure tokens. So with red and green, you can get very stompy and burn spells and whatnot. Treasure's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
That's mana ramp right away, and with it only costing 2, just like your commander, you're doing it quickly, right? And
Yeah.
so ramping up, making 2 treasure tokens every single time Wilson's attacking, you ramp up really quick, and it doesn't matter if you ever pump them or do Raised by Giants or anything like that. You're going to have a board so big and be able to do whatever you want. You might just go ahead and win the game that way. So what do you think about that one?
It's an option.
Yeah.
I think either Raised by Giants or Shadow Operatives are my 2 favorites.
Those are my top 2
for
picks,
for
yeah.
Wilson for sure.
Yeah, those are definitely my top 2 picks. Well, let's get into another commander that I'm actually a big fan of as well. Lady C, would you like to read this one?
Certainly, I would. Abdul Adrian, Gorion's Ward.
Woo!
I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Is a legendary human warrior. So when Abdel Arian, Gorion's Ward, enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until Abdel Adrian leaves the battlefield.
Yep.
Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each permanent exiled this way. Choose a background.
Oh, so
And it's a 4/4,
yeah,
4 and a white drop.
yep. So it's an expensive commander, but there's some stuff that could happen here. So it's kind of like, to me, the first thing I thought of when we're talking about exiling things until it leaves the battlefield. So it's permanents, right? Or non-land permanents, but you get some cheap creatures out there, anything, right? Maybe even your own ramp. You get some stuff out there, you exile it, you make a whole bunch of tokens. That's what I'm thinking of, right? And it's similar to like a white Thassa is what I was thinking of. I was like, how can I put Thassa in this deck, right? Because I want to bounce it back and forth. Well, luckily, in the backgrounds that I was looking at, there's something called Far Traveler. It is a 2 and a white. For this background, our commanders are going to have, at the beginning of our end step, we can exile up to 1 target tapped creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So we can work with that and get Abdel back into the battlefield over and over again and keep that enters the battlefield synergy going, exile stuff, create more tokens, get it going, right? I also had one that maybe you had pointed out earlier that I wanted to make good on. Lady C, do you want to take that one?
Yes, this one is the Cultist of the Absolute. Commander creatures you own get +3/+3 and have flying, death touch, ward, pay 3 life, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature.
Yep. So that one is a black. So that's going to add
Yes,
black.
black 1 drop.
Yep. So very cheap. You get it out there. Basically, you're going to pump Obdel so much and have flying death touch, and people are gonna have to pay 3 life if they want to do anything to them to remove them. And then with all of those tokens that you're making, you'll just basically be making a token deck. You're gonna be able to sack enough things to where it's not gonna matter, right? You're just gonna get the big 3 +3/+3, so it'll be a 7/7 flying death touch, just going straight for people's domes, and then they got to pay 3 life if they want to do anything about them. I mean, that's some pretty powerful stuff. So, what do you think about that one?
I think it could definitely have some good synergy for sure.
100%.
For sure.
I had one more I wanted to throw out there, and then
Okay.
and then you'd probably have another idea as well. But Cloakwood Hermit is another one that came to my mind. It's 2 and a green, and at the beginning of our end step, our commander is going to have, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. So the thought process I'm thinking of is to make a very cheap creature deck, right? And then you want the stuff to die, and then you're going to net an extra green squirrel, then maybe throw some stuff in there that pumps your creatures and tokens, right? And throw all of that in together. Green-white is a very fun mechanic. First thing I can think of is like Maja, I believe is how you pronounce the name, gives your creatures +1/+1 while it's on the battlefield, and creates tokens every time a land enters. So thinking about synergizing those together. So what are we thinking about that?
I like it.
Sure.
I like it. I think my favorite, of course, was the Cultist of the Absolute.
Yeah. Maybe Shadow Thief.
But you never can tell, sometimes that's just the 2 commanders. Sometimes once you get the deck going and you really see it put together, it might work better with one of the other enchantments. You never can tell.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten our hands on it yet. That's what's exciting. So.
I know.
Okay. Well, I got a couple more commanders I wanted to go over that really stuck out to me, and I'm telling you, this one I think you're really gonna like.
Ooh, okay. Karlak, Fury of Avernus.
Yes.
A Tiefling Barbarian.
Yeah.
Whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike until end of turn. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase.
Wow.
Choose a background.
Yep.
That is crazy. So it's a 5/4, 4 and a red drop.
Yep. So it's expensive, but if you can get a battlefield big, once this hits the board, I mean, you're putting in additional combat phases. I mean, I'm thinking about having Goblin.
Oh, Krinko.
Krinko, yes. Having Krinko put into this one. Make all my Goblin tokens. Have a lot of things that are quick, and I can build a board very quickly.
Yeah.
And then hopefully turn 4 or even maybe turn 3, depending on if you get a Soul Ring or something like that. But you're hitting Karlak out here, and all of a sudden you're pumping Krinko twice a turn, and that is overwhelming to say the least. So that was just the first thing that popped in my mind. Also, maybe thinking like what I thought of, and let me know what you think. But Hardy Outlander was the background that I was thinking of right off the rip.
Okay.
It's a 1 and a green. Whenever creatures, or the commander creatures are going to have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the creature's power.
Okay.
So
it's a 5/4.
So now it's going to be a 10/9, right?
Yeah.
Or no, excuse me. It's going to be a 10/9, right?
10
Math.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 10/9 until end of turn, and then you're going to have another combat phase where it's going to be a 10/9 again. So you have to do something with it. You can't just let it come through. That's 20 commander damage immediately, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do something with it. So what do you think about that one?
Well, I don't know. It does say another target creature you control gets the +X/+X.
Whenever this creature attacks,
that's the commander, right. So it's going to be another creature. So you're going to have a 5/4, and then you're going to have another creature
that's going to
get a +5/+5.
You're right.
Buff.
I apologize.
So it's not that one, but actually that kind of works out better because then they have a couple of different creatures with first strike.
Yeah, first strike.
Going at ya.
And then they're going to do it again. So either way, even without commander damage, you get pretty pretty pumped.
It's pretty stompy.
Yeah, I like it.
I love green-red stompy decks.
Green-red stompy is it speaks to me. I threw out Guild Artisan too, just get the extra ramp, right?
Make a mono red.
And what's crazy is that with the Guild Artisan, like I was talking about earlier, every time it attacks, you're going to get that 2 treasure tokens just in case, or if you have more life than the player, right? If no other opponent has more life than that player, but you create 2 treasure tokens, and then you have an additional combat phase, so you're going to make 4 treasure tokens out of the 2 swings.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's true. That's true. That could help you just really stack your board up.
Yeah. I think you had one that you kind of thought about too that maybe could.
Oh, yes,
throw
the
in here.
Noble Heritage.
Yeah.
So commander creatures you own have when this creature enters the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. For each opponent who does, you gain protection from that player until your next turn. So the player can add +1/+1 if they want, but then they have to take your swing.
Yeah, they won't be able to deal damage to us. They can't. They can't. They can't crack us back, right? So if we swing at them and they took the 2/1 count, the 2/1/1 counters from us, they're not going to be able to crack us back. So we can smack them.
I mean, yeah, but they can't block, right? They can block, but they can't deal damage to us or to our creatures, correct?
Yeah.
So so we can swing with.
Well, I want to think this through. So this is why we're having this discussion. We will gain protection. I don't think that means that our creatures are going to gain protection, but we can't be targeted, like us can't be targeted, dealt damage, or enchanted by anything. So they can block, but they can't crack us back. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So if y'all want to comment at us or add us or whatever, let us know. But I'm pretty sure that's what I'm getting at.
But you know what, though? This is a really good card whenever you're talking about 4v4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because if someone takes those +1s, that's great, but they can't attack you with it that next turn, right?
I feel an alliance coming on.
Exactly. Be like, if you take it, maybe, we figure something out.
It does make you a board favorite for a little while.
But also kind of a threat, right?
Exactly.
So it's a weird political thing that you can do, and that's kind of fun. Kind of fun, right?
Spicy.
There's probably one other one I can think of. I mean, Raised by Giants.
Raised by Giants. Yeah. Raised by Giants would work well for any. In my opinion, I think that you could put that one in. Yeah. Partner that with any of the commanders, and it'd be really awesome.
Good. Same thing that I was thinking of too with Sword Coast Sailor, where when it attacks, no opponent has more life than that player. This creature can't be blocked this turn, so we can get our 10 commander damage through.
Yeah, well, and especially when you have 2 combat, because that just says this turn. That doesn't say, so for combat phase.
Yeah, we just do our additional combat phase, still can't be blocked. I mean, that could get out of hand too. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's my take on that one.
And I do want to point out that these enchantment background cards, they don't have to be just played partnered with a commander. You could sprinkle as many of these as you want and just play them as regular enchantments.
You can only put 1 in the command zone, right? Mm-hmm. But the backgrounds can be in there. So if you want to make like all of these things be a thing, you can just put them in your deck. But the main background that you can keep recasting or whatever, if it ever gets removed, is your one background that you choose, right?
So cool.
So we just want to make
sure. And it's the same as with commander and partner. Yeah, it's 2 more every time if they get taken off the battlefield. But enchantments are a little bit more difficult to remove than creatures are.
Yeah, it's not as there's not as many things that are like, get rid of that enchantment, right? I mean, there's like non-land permanent stuff. I get it, but it's just not as much that you target enchantments than you do creatures, right? Lady C, you had one more commander.
Oh my god, it's so cute. I love it. It's Lulu Loyal Hollyphant.
Ooh.
It's an elephant angel.
Nice.
It's a 3/2 flyer for 3 and a white. And it has, at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control, then untap them.
Damn.
So that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, the first thing I think of with this one was Cultist of the Absolute, right? You're going to make a token style deck, right?
Yeah.
And so with Lulu, if the permanent we control left the battlefield, we're going to put a 1/1 counter on each tap creature.
You know what would be really good with this one?
What?
Since you've got the Cultist of the Absolute up here, so you've got the black, get you some decayed zombies in there.
And just throw them in there. You're attacking with them.
And they leave the battlefield would that be considered a permanent though?
Yeah, they're bound.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
permanents. They're on
So you get some decayed, then automatically every time you attack with the decayed, you're immediately going to get those. You're going to activate that mechanic.
And whenever we add the black here, I'm thinking Gissa. You put in Gissa, and with her, anytime a creature your opponent dies, you exile it instead and put a little token copy under Gissa. Beginning of your upkeep, you put it under your control, and it has decayed. So you're going to be swinging it.
That's
anyway.
awesome.
And when it gets out of the battlefield, we're going to +1/+1 counter on all of it. So. This one could get pretty
good.
Yeah, that one could get pretty nasty.
Yeah.
So that's just the first thing that popped in my mind. But there's also some other things that really popped out too. I thought maybe Master Chef would be nice. That's the one that gives you the extra 1/1 counters, right? You know, if there's an additional one, they're already entering in with an additional 1/1 counter on it. The Cloakwood Hermit was another one that I saw where, hey, you're making more tokens, right? So whenever you're making the tokens, you're replacing the things that left with an extra
1/1 token.
Right. So then you're incentivized to keep swinging out with these things, and then everything's getting pumped, and you know what I mean? Like things are dying, but they're getting replaced by more tokens. It's pretty annoying when you think about it, but also badass because, like, if you're the player that's got all the 1/1 tokens and all the
Well, and they go in your graveyard, correct? The tokens, or do they just get exiled? How does that work?
tokens are just gone, but
So they don't go into your graveyard, so
No.
they wouldn't activate.
yeah, well, it's this one is if it left the battlefield.
Yeah, but I was talking about the mechanic on the other one.
With which one? With Gissa?
No, the one that we were just on.
With Master Chef or Cultist?
Master Chef.
Let me pull it up here. Yep.
No, the one that makes 1/1s. That one. Cloakwood Hermit.
Yeah, so if it was put in your
So it's making 1/1 green squirrels.
This
so
is true.
If the squirrels are dying, you're not getting.
if the tokens are dying,
If the
you're not
tokens
going
are
to
dying,
get
you're not getting
correct.
anything
You
for
are
it.
1,000%.
So you don't want to, if you're going to pair these two cards, then you don't want to rely on a bunch of tokens.
Yep.
You're still going to want to get at least some small creatures out there that are easily killed.
Yep, you're 1,000% accurate on that. Good call. Good call. I also like this one too. Whenever you attack, another target creature gets +X/+X, where it's the power. So with Lulu, she a flyer. So if you're pumping her, you get that through, and then you can pump something else.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if people don't have a reach or other flyers, you can really start doing some heavy damage. If it's been pumped a few times, then you're adding the +X/+X of whatever her power is. So if she has 6 power, then you're pumping something else for 6. That could be a lowly little 1/1 token. Now all of a sudden it's a 7/7, right?
Yeah.
So that was just another one I was thinking of. There was one more that kind of caught my eye here, so I'll have you take a peek at that one.
Okay, the Feywild Visitor. Let's see, whenever one or more non-token creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with flying.
Yeah. So, and that's going to be a permanent, right? So you get more tokens, and that.
So the more tokens that you get, because you're going to be you're going to be in the air.
Mhm.
All of these are going to be in the air, and for every single time that they deal damage, you get to create a 1/1.
Yep. So that right there is
That's pretty good too.
a pretty good little thing, right?
And that's blue, by the way. It's 2 and it costs 2 and a blue.
Yep.
And so then you'd have your blue-white combo, which blue-white combo can be really fun.
Yeah, it can be very, very
My
fun.
favorite was still the Cultist. I just
I think
like
so,
that
too.
card.
I
just like that
It's a
card.
fun little mechanic.
But I like the idea of doing the Cultist and then getting the decayed zombies in the mix.
And just
Yeah.
And then once they leave, and then untap all your stuff. Crazy. So Lulu, kind of a sneaky good commander, just saying. So
I'm excited.
yes. So hope this helped out a little bit, made some more sense about what this background stuff is all about. I'm a big fan of it. I loved Partner when they came out with that, and I think this is a cool, different take while maintaining the flavor. You know what I mean? So anyway, any closing thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just so excited. We've got some really cool things. This new little mechanic thing is super awesome because, like I said, enchantments are more difficult to remove.
Yeah.
You've got two creatures that work or not two creatures, but two cards that work together.
Yep.
I mean, because there's nothing worse than whenever you build a deck and you've got your commander and then you have a really cool enchantment that you want to use with it.
Yep.
And you get them together, you finally get them, you finally draw that enchantment.
Countered.
And then it's countered or something like that. There's nothing worse. So it's cool that we can put that in the command zone so that they'll always work together.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs mana, but still, it's awesome.
Yeah. So I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It's a very fun take. I never thought I'd see enchantments in the command zone, and here we are, right? So, with all that said, if you enjoyed what you saw, hey, consider liking, subscribing, commenting on the video, and let us know who's your favorite commander that you've seen so far, and your favorite background and combos and whatnot. Get at us, right?
Also, if you're super into deck building, we have a Discord with other MTG enthusiasts that play all the formats, and they love just a really good supportive community that loves to build each other up and show each other cool decks, show each other new things that they find. We're constantly learning from each other and then challenging each other in either Untapped or in MTG Arena.
Yep.
And also, every Sunday and Wednesday at 6, we stream live on Twitch.
Yep, you want to do that.
Yeah, so tune in for that. We also do direct challenges with our followers. So, yeah, follow us and then play us. We love it.
Yep. It's a good time. No matter what, we always have a good time. So, with all that said, though, until next time, I am Strikeheart Lighthearter.
I am Lady Celestria.
Together we are
Celestial Strike.
Happy hunting out there. I'm pumped for Baldur's Gate. I hope y'all are too. We will see y'all next time.